Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Overcoming Life Toughest Setback series. Today, we're recording the introduction session. You'll learn key principles that you can apply to navigate life's darkest moment with my special guest, Andy Campbell. Hey, Andy,
Hello, Will. How are you? Great to talk to you again.
I got your book here.
Yeah,
How
thank
about
you.
let's kick it off with a quick introduction?
Yeah, look, I have been through a number of things in my life. You can read about those in a book or see them on the website. But while they're not maybe the same thing that the listeners are or have gone through, there is a wide variety of experiences that I have that I have had to persevere through. I've had to be resilient to get through them, whether that's the loss of a child, pancreatic cancer, childhood sexual abuse, a number of other things along the way. And what I collected over the years was a set of beliefs that I believe defined what I would think of as a resilience path, a path that one could walk that would sustain one to be resilient through difficulties and to help one overcome life's toughest setbacks. So that's what this series and that's what the book is about, is sharing those beliefs so that it might help others walk a more resilient path.
Thank you for that introduction and also for sharing your gift to the world. And for everyone who's going to be listening to this series, please buy this book and listen to the different episode. Andy, you've suffered unimaginable pain and loss throughout your life, yet you emerge from it with a message of hope. What was the turning point for you?
I think I had ancestors and close relatives who had been through difficult things, and I saw them persevere. And I was also raised in a religious belief system that God would not let you suffer more than you could bear. And so I started to think about, well, if I have to bear this, if I have to walk this path, then how will I survive it? And not just survive it, but I would like to live a relatively happy life, at least have some moments of happiness along the way. And so that really was kind of the turning point. Somehow there wasn't one major event. It was kind of a progression over time that I came to believe by surviving, things earlier in life, I came to believe that I could survive more difficult things. And I don't know whether that brought more difficult things or whether it prepared me for the difficult things that were to come, but it was a progression to move from I can't do this to I'd really rather not do this, but I can persevere.
Why do you really want to help people? Why?
Because I have seen people suffer. I lost my youngest son to depression. He thought he could predict the future, and I think a lot of people do that, right? You think about what you believe the future will be based on historical precedent or kind of how your imagination plays out. And I think that one of the ideas that I want to leave with people is that you actually can't see the future and that the future may not play out as negatively as you think it will. And your mind can only know what it knows. It doesn't know the future. And so the reason I want to share this, and I hope that it helps people, is because I don't want others, as my son did, to run into a place where it becomes so hopeless that life is not worth living. I believe that even in the most darkest of times, life is worth pursuing and persevering. None of us will make it out of this alive, but in between, we can both live a better life and we can inspire others to live and survive a better life.
Well, thank you for inspiring others by recording this series with me and sharing the different principle and sharing the different principle for other people to learn and follow. When we look at the your story, the one word that comes to mind is resilience. Why is resilience more important now than ever?
I think it seems to me that life is becoming not only more complex, but it's becoming more complicated. And our ancestors had complicated situations. There were still human relationships and nation states that fought wars, and there were all these things. But with the advent of what we're doing, we're not in the same place. The negative side of this is we can be isolated.
Yeah.
And I think, social media, while it connects us, it creates isolation. And so I think resilience today is more important than ever for many of us because we actually have enough to meet our basic survival needs, right? We don't have to be, not all of us have to be resilient on will I have food tomorrow? That certainly is still a concern for many, many people. But for a lot of people, the next level of concern is can I not fall into depression? Can I not just quit? Can I not give up on life? Can I get through this health crisis that's happened? So I think resilience is more important than ever today. It seems like I don't know the historical numbers, but it certainly seems like there is a more cancer diagnoses today than in the past. It seems like there's more, suicidal activity. It seems like there are more of these things that we need to learn to be resilient through so they don't consume us.
Thank you for sharing that. For someone that's listening out there who's drowning in their own pain and loss, what's your message to them?
I would have one message and one action item. First one is it is not, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how bad it is, I've had very bad things happen in my life. It is not as bad as your emotions are telling you right now. The second thing I would say is to be resilient, we need to acquire meaning for our life, not just rely on hope. I've seen people become hopeless and then they quit functioning, they retreat from their families, from their community, or they take their own lives. They just become hopeless. And so I think it is supremely important that we find meanings. The one action I would say is get Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, and begin to establish yourself. Just force yourself to take that action. Once you have meaning, then I think some of the principles that have helped me walk a more resilient path can be applied to your daily life and help you become more resilient along the way because you will have meaning in your life.
Thank you for sharing that message, Andy. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.